Hello, everyone. It's Antoinette here from To Become One, and I'm here with another installment. Still in beautiful isolation. Um, Good news in Australia, it appears that the curve is actually starting to flatten. So um, things are starting to settle down. And however, I do worry about people becoming complacent now. But it's really good news that it's under 1% apparently increase for the last, I think, 10 days. So it's really, really, really good news in terms of the virus not spreading as widely as what it was. So it's really, really good news out of Australia. Hope you're all doing fine. Hope you're coping as well as you possibly can. There's been some really dense energies around again, and where people are dealing with a lot of challenges. So I send you all my love and light, and I hope that you have people around you that can support you and listen and guide you through these challenging times. So today, I've decided I want to talk about spirituality. So, well, not I've decided, I've been guided to speak about this because during these isolation and quarantine times, let's face it, we're spending a lot of time with ourselves, and some of us may be alone and not have family members or partners or anyone around them or their friends around them, and they've been forced to be in this situation where you're actually on your own and a lot of time to be with your own company. And it's a time for us all to go within. And the beauty of this isolation time is for us to get to know ourselves, for us to go within and connect with our souls and listen to that inner voice that we have that we often ignore because of all the other noise that's around us all the time, all the distractions. So we really don't have an excuse anymore to not go within and actually examine who we are, what we're here to do, what our message is, who our authentic self is really. Who are we really? So I want to read out the quote that I found quite a long time ago about what the meaning of spirituality is. So, there are millions of meanings out there, and, Google always spits out all this stuff. But I just want to read you this quote that I found a while ago. And I'm going to read it a couple of times just so that you guys can have a bit of a chance to absorb it and really take it in. So, this is a quote I found about the meaning of spirituality. Spirituality is the surrender of one's ego to the infinite wisdom and knowledge that is the universe. Spirituality is the surrender of one's ego to the infinite wisdom and knowledge that is the universe. And once again, spirituality is the surrender of one's ego to the infinite wisdom and knowledge that is the universe. Whew, just one statement, but the depth of that is incredible. And when I saw that quote a few years ago, it really got me, and I sat and I thought, because as you all know, I started my spiritual path 7 years ago now. And I found this quote and I thought, that's really resonating with me, because I was going through the destruction of the ego. I was going through surrendering the ego. And a lot of us think that ego means being arrogant or being full of yourself or self-centered. That's a westernized definition of ego, Because ego actually means a lot of the conditioning, the belief patterns, the restrictions, the blocks, the triggers, all of these things that we brought in from past lifetimes, this lifetime, ancestral lineage, DNA, things that we are conditioned within us. And the ego is also the mind. And we have looping thoughts, and we have our mind telling us we're not good enough, or we can't do this, or we can't have this, or we don't deserve this. These are all aspects of the ego. And I did not start with this training in my life. I was brought up in a Catholic culture, in a Maltese culture. So all I ever heard and believed and knew was to be a Catholic. Went to Catholic school, was confirmed, my first Eucharist, did all that, did all the sacraments, did all that. And, I didn't question. So, as I've said in other videos, I'm going to start sharing more about my story. So, that's, that's a little bit about where I came from, in the sense that I was not brought up around spirituality. I was brought up around religion and following rules and not questioning, and going to Mass every Sunday and going to Mass on special occasions, Easter, Christmas. In those days, holy days of obligation, where we were obliged to go to church on certain days and follow the rules of the Pope and the doctrine and all of that. So when my parents passed away and I had my awakening, which was activated through a twin flame, I started to question everything. Everything. I had to unlearn pretty much everything that I learnt my whole life. And it was confronting, because it was, especially since my parents had both passed, the guilt came up. And I thought, what would they think of me? I'm now starting to question everything they ever taught me, everything I ever knew. I was going to church and finding that I was just sitting there, and I wanted so much more. I wasn't being fulfilled. My spiritual being wasn't fulfilled. Because after all, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So I started to question, and I worked through a lot of things around my guilt and perhaps my shame about what would my parents think. And then I came to realize that when this quote came about, that this is what I had been doing. I had been surrendering the ego to the infinite wisdom of the universe. I had been in a process of connecting with my soul, going within, practicing meditation, sitting in silence, just with my soul, with my intuition, and listening. And a hell of a lot came up. A hell of a lot. A lot of belief systems, a lot of conditioning, a lot of triggers and blocks. And as they came up, the universe provided people that I could share with and learn from. And I started my healing process, and I looked at my triggers and I assessed them, and I allowed myself to connect with them. And that is what we have to do. We have to give ourselves permission to connect with the triggers, the blocks, the belief systems, and whatever comes up, and not judge ourselves so hard, because we judge ourselves so harshly. We judge ourselves more than what we judge other people, particularly if we're empaths. So I connected with my feelings, I connected with my blocks. I went through processes of healing, purging, releasing, and I'm so thankful that I was shown people to help me came into my life. Because it's when we give ourselves that permission, this is when the universe delivers. When we surrender to that infinite wisdom and knowledge of the universe, that is when it provides. And it was a hard experience, and it still is, because the healing journey never ends. But it was in essence spirituality. I was no longer living religion, but I was living spirituality. I had become spiritual rather than religious. And it doesn't mean that I still not have my religious beliefs, because I feel like I'm closer to God than I ever have been. And it is the most beautiful thing to be able to surrender, because as soon as you surrender, the universe provides. And that's pretty much the law of attraction, the spiritual law of attraction. We attract what we put out. So I just want you guys to have a bit of a think. And there might be some people out there that are listening to this video that have also been brought up in a religious culture, religious teaching, and very dogmatic and full of doctrine, and you must do this and you must do that. And you may be starting to question that right now because of the conditions that we have been given by this virus, that we have to isolate and quarantine and go within. So I want you to know that if you're struggling, that there is help out there. I would love to connect with you, just to have a chat and just to talk about your challenges. And know that the process of surrendering and realizing and connecting with your blocks is spirituality. Listening to your voice, connecting to your soul, remembering who you are, being the authentic you. The authentic you. A lot of that is coming up right now. And please know it's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. And please embrace it. And reach out to me if you need some help, because this is what I do. I help you with your blocks. I help you with your challenges. I help you with your restrictions and your triggers. And we go through a beautiful process of releasing it, and transmuting it. And then the shift happens. You start to shift frequency, and you start to learn more, and you start to want to learn more. And it's such a beautiful process. So please reach out to me. Please go to my website, tobecomeone.org, and you'll find there all about my services, all my toolbox, all the things that I use, how I work, and how I can support you. And I would really love to support and guide you. So thank you all for watching this video. I hope that you all feel that the universe is supporting you, and that there is so much love and compassion out there in the world. So please embrace it. Use this time to go within, sit in silence, and start to examine and start to remember who you are. I send you all my love, peace, and light, and I'll speak to you all soon. Thank you everyone for watching. Bye for now.